Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we are taking a deep breath and sinking into the monumental 6-decade spanning career of Morgan Freeman.
Mm.
If you've ever watched a nature documentary, listened to a presidential introduction, or simply, pondered the meaning of existence,
Yeah.
chances are that deep, rich, authoritative baritone voice you hear belongs to him.
That voice is literally cinematic history now. I mean, it's the voice that critics call the universal shorthand for wisdom, for consequence, and, well, often for God himself, given his multiple portrayals.
Exactly. And we're talking about a man who was recently voted one of the 50 greatest actors of all time in a 2022 Empire poll. He's achieved a level of cultural reverence few actors ever reach.
Absolutely.
So our source material today is a really comprehensive look at his trajectory, and it demands a true deep dive. We're going to be examining everything.
Everything, from his unexpected kind of gritty origins and his crucial hard-won career pivots,
Yeah.
to his surprising life as a producer, an environmentalist, a philanthropist, all the way up to his status as this absolute industry giant.
Our mission here is to move past the roles so well past Lucius Fox and Red from Shawshank, to reveal the foundational moments and the surprisingly disciplined choices that really define this enduring American icon. We want to focus on why he made the decisions he did.
Especially the early ones.
Yeah.
We're aiming to provide you with those aha moments behind the legend. So you walk away not just knowing what he did, but really understanding why he endured.
Okay, let's unpack this journey, because the starting point is, well, it's a long way from the Hollywood Hills or any red carpet. Morgan Freeman was born on June 1st, 1937 in Memphis, Tennessee.
Right, but his life was largely shaped by his upbringing, which was primarily in Mississippi.
And his family roots, they show a great deal of quiet strength, a lot of that early grit.
They really do. His mother, Mamie Edna, was a dedicated teacher, which, perhaps instilled an early appreciation for language and education.
And his father?
His father, Morgan Porterfield Freeman, was a barber. And tragically, his father passed away relatively young from cirrhosis in 1961.
And he had siblings.
Yep, 3 older siblings. So you could just imagine a crowded, complex, and probably pretty demanding family environment.
What's truly fascinating, though, and I think deeply revealing, is the information that's been unearthed through genealogy. These surprising layers of his family history that tie directly into the themes of race, identity, and defiance that would later, really define his career.
And it's incredible historical depths to his story.
Yeah.
I mean, his research revealed that some of his great-great-grandparents were slaves who migrated from North Carolina to Mississippi.
Wow.
But there's a really remarkable detail on his maternal side, a discovery about love defying the entire era of segregation.
Tell us a bit more about that maternal history, because it's such a poignant piece of American history, and it's unfolding right in his own family tree.
It is. It's this profound counterpoint to the rigid segregation of the Deep South. His genealogy revealed that his white maternal great-great-grandfather actually lived with and was later buried right beside his black great-great-grandmother.
In the segregated South.
In the segregated South, where, legal marriage between them was completely prohibited. It's this early family narrative of defiance, a chosen commitment. Despite all these systemic obstacles, it really sets a tone of resilience in his ancestry.
And the sources even get into the specifics of his genetic roots.
Yeah, they do. DNA testing gave some specificity on his African ancestry, suggesting it largely came from 2 distinct areas. About 1/4 of it traces back to the Senegal-Liberia area, and the majority, 3/4, originating from the Congo-Angola region. This deep historical root in specific African regions adds a lot of complexity to his identity.
And you have to think it fuels his later political commitment to insisting that, Black American history can't be segmented from the American narrative as a whole.
Exactly.
So, despite this challenging yet really rich background, he showed this early, immediate aptitude for performance.
Oh, right away. He made his debut on stage at the tender age of 9 in a school play.
Just 9 years old.
And then he went on to win a statewide drama competition when he was just 12. These are clear signals of talent. You would assume that success would just propel him straight into formal artistic training.
But it doesn't.
No. And here comes one of those foundational, really unexpected detours.
This is the first critical pivot in his life, really. After graduating high school in 1955, he received a partial drama scholarship from Jackson State University.
And he turned it down.
Instead of immediate formal education and the unstable life of a budding artist, he opted for structure, for stability. He enlists in the United States Air Force.
This was a 4-year commitment, too. He served from 1955 to 1959. And this is where we need to get into the technical detail that's often overlooked.
He wasn't some celebrity entertainer in the military.
Not at all. He was an automatic tracking radar repairman.
Wow.
And he ultimately achieved the rank of Airman First Class. That was not a soft job.
Yeah.
Being a radar repairman required immense technical discipline.
A focus on precision.
Total precision. Absolute clarity and execution. It's a technical skill that requires patience, methodical repetition. Those are not skills you typically associate with dramatic flair,
but they map perfectly onto his later mastery of speech and scene work.
They absolutely do. He was a man who chose structure and technical precision over immediate artistic freedom.
So when his military service concluded, that artistic ambition resurfaced, and it seems like it was really focused by the discipline he'd just acquired.
Right. He moves to Los Angeles, determined to pursue acting, enrolling in classes at the Pasadena Playhouse.
He also studied theater arts at Los Angeles City College, and there's another subtle hint here of the roads not taken.
Yeah, a teacher there encouraged him to lean toward a career in dance. He absorbed that training, but his true passion, it seems, remained in the dramatic arts.
Which brings us into the actual struggle years, the hustle years, where he's piecing together early gigs just to survive.
And you can see the direct influence of that brief detour into dance. He worked as a dancer at the 1964 World's Fair. He was also an active member of the Opera Rain musical theater group in San Francisco.
He was everywhere, just looking for opportunity.
And early on, in this low-profile work, he appeared as an extra in Sidney Lumet's powerful 1965 drama, The Pawnbroker.
Just to be in the environment.
Exactly. Surrounding him with the professionals he aspired to be until he landed his proper stage opportunities.
And he found stage success relatively quickly. His off-Broadway debut came in 1967.
In a show about the Freedom Riders called The Nigger Lovers.
And that was immediately followed by his Broadway debut in 1968.
In the celebrated all-black version of Hello, Dolly?
Yeah.
Alongside legends like Pearl Bailey and Cab Calloway.
That Broadway visibility was a huge step up. But the true financial stability, the kind that allowed him to stop hustling and just, pay the rent.
That came from children's television.
Right. We're talking about the Electric Company years, from 1971 to 1975.
This is a classic example of an artist making a necessary compromise. He became recognizable to an entire generation of young Americans.
But the crucial, deeply human nugget here is his own private perspective on that work.
He was miserable.
Utterly.
He apparently loathed appearing on the show. He even called it a very unhappy period because of the tiring nature and the monotony of the work. He felt it was a distraction from the serious, complex, dramatic work he was trained for and really passionate about.
It's that fundamental conflict so many artists face, right? The trade-off between reliable financial stability and true artistic fulfillment.
But later, he did admit gratitude for the experience. It gave him the stability he lacked, and it made his a recognizable face. But it definitely reinforced his desire to get back to the serious theater work he truly loved.
And when he returned to the stage, he just dominated.
He really did. Took a short break after the show ended in '75. But his return was marked by serious, dedicated acclaim. He won a Drama Desk Award and a Clarence Derwin Award for his role as a wino in The Mighty Gents in 1978.
And that also earned him a Tony nomination.
It did. And we should probably pause here to just contextualize the weight of his stage success for you. He later received 2 prestigious Obie Awards.
For those who might not know the theater world, the Obies are basically the highest honors for off-Broadway work.
Exactly. He won the first for playing the title role in the Shakespearean tragedy Coriolanus in 1980, which is a massive undertaking.
Huge.
And the second, crucially, was for the stage version of Driving Miss Daisy. This continuous stream of acclaim proves his reputation was built outside the commercial pressures of Hollywood. He was already a formidable, serious actor. But
the pivotal moment that truly launched him into film viability, the true breakthrough role, was playing a violent, intimidating street hustler in 1987's Street Smart. This role was a massive departure from the wise, dramatic characters he had built a reputation playing on stage.
This was a calculated risk that paid off, spectacularly. He played the villain, Leo Smalls Jr. The film critic Roger Ebert called him an unforgettable villain, noting his transformation, which could shift instantly from charming and disarming to absolutely chilling.
That sheer dramatic range, that proof of versatility on screen, that's what earned him his very first Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor.
And Freeman himself confirmed the magnitude of this shift. He stated that he considered Street Smart to be his true breakthrough role, It proved he could translate that raw, complex stage presence to the screen and succeed wildly playing against type.
That performance was the launch pad, the absolute launch pad into the next decade, which just solidified his Hollywood icon status.
The year 1989 wasn't just good for Morgan Freeman, it was arguably the year that solidified his star.
Yeah.
You could call it the quadruple threat, given the sheer volume, quality, and diversity of his releases that year.
It really is the definition of a career pivot. 4 major films hit theaters: Glory, Drive Miss Daisy, Lean on Me, and Johnny Handsome. The variety is just astonishing.
It is. Let's start with Glory, the historical epic. He played Sergeant Major John Rawlins, focusing on the 54th Massachusetts Infantry Regiment during the Civil War.
And his presence just grounded the film. His performance was lauded, specifically for providing a warming sense of fraternity with his co-star, Denzel Washington.
And this film, for Freeman, was more than just a job. It was deeply, deeply important to him personally. He explicitly connected it back to that desire for affirmation of his identity.
Absolutely. He later cited Glory as one of his favorite releases because it explicitly showcased that the Black legacy is as noble, is as heroic as anybody else's.
It was a deliberate choice to be part of a film that reaffirmed the importance of Black history in the context of the greater American narrative.
But then, in that same year, he brought his already celebrated stage role as Hope Colburn in Driving Miss Daisy to the screen, starring alongside Jessica Tandy.
And that film became a phenomenon.
It was everything. It wasn't just a critical darling, earning him an Academy Award nomination for Best Actor and a Golden Globe win. It was a massive commercial success. It grossed $145 million worldwide. This proved he could carry a major commercial film while receiving serious critical recognition.
And the versatility just kept coming that year. He portrayed the real-life principal of an underperforming high school in the biographical drama Lean on Me,
where critics praised his powerful casting and his authority.
And then to round out the year, he balanced out those weighty roles with the crime drama, Johnny Handsome, playing New Orleans police officer. That single year cemented him as a bankable, critically recognized star, capable of leading or deeply enriching any type of genre film. It set the stage for everything that came after.
Now that he was established, he quickly moved into collaboration that defined the 90s. And that includes what would become one of the most important professional relationships in his life, working with Clint Eastwood.
Yes, his collaboration with Eastwood began with the widely acclaimed revisionist Western Unforgiven in 1992. That film was a cultural and commercial powerhouse.
It won 4 Oscars, including Best Picture.
So working on such a prestigious project instantly elevated Freeman into the highest echelon of quality cinema. It really demonstrated his serious commitment to his craft.
In leveraging that newfound prestige, he made his own foray behind the camera, which is a key, often understated aspect of his career.
It really is. In 1993, he directed the drama Bofa, set during South Africa's volatile apartheid era. It focused on the loyalty conflicts faced by a Black policeman.
His direction was generally well received. He showed his commitment to exploring these complex, challenging international issues.
Yeah. The Washington Post praised him for laying out the difficult father-son dynamics with great skill, noting that he stuck to the facts and relied on his talented cast for the emotion.
Though some critics, like the Los Angeles Times, felt the film was more predictable than powerful, the effort demonstrated that he wasn't content merely to wait for roles.
No, he wanted to curate and shape narratives that explored a global conscience, and that drive later informed his production company.
But the film that truly put him on the cinematic map forever? Arguably his most enduring and culturally permanent role for a generation, was The Shawshank Redemption in 1994.
Where he played Red.
Which is a remarkable story of casting defying the source material. The character in Stephen King's novella was a white Irishman.
That's right. The producer, Liz Glotzer, suggested Freeman for the role, recognizing that his inherent gravitas was essential to anchoring the entire narrative. Red is the audience surrogate, you know.
He's the conscience.
He's the narrative conscience, the constant in a world of institutional cruelty. His quiet, weary authority makes the grand drama around him feel real.
And despite the film's immense cultural popularity and critical acclaim, the sources revealed the filming process was, well, it was fraught for Freeman.
It's a great piece of behind-the-scenes friction. Freeman found the filming process extremely challenging due to the director's demand for multiple, often excessive, takes.
He was very candid about it. He called the experience debilitating to the energy.
He felt that the constant repetition just sapped the spontaneity and life from the scene work. Yet, ironically, his fatigue and the resulting resignation he projected arguably enhanced the character of Red.
A man resigned to decades of incarceration.
Exactly.
So despite that onset fatigue, the result was undeniable. He earned another Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. And the box office success followed immediately with two major thrillers in 1995 that cemented him as a genre powerhouse.
First was the medical blockbuster Outbreak, which grossed nearly $190 million worldwide. That was followed by the dark, intense crime thriller C7, alongside Brad Pitt,
Where he played the weary detective William Somerset. And critics singled out his performance in C7 for its subtlety. It was described as supremely nuanced.
Indeed. A key insight into his acting style here is that he played nearly every scene in a doleful hush, forcing you, the audience, to lean in to catch the nuances of anger, regret, and weary determination.
That ability to deliver quiet power, to command attention without shouting, that is a hallmark of his mastery. Building on that control over his destiny, in 1996, he officially moved into content creation by co-founding Revelations Entertainment with Laurie McCreary. This isn't just a footnote. This is a critical career pivot.
It is the moment he shifted from merely being an actor to a creator and a curator of content. The driving philosophy behind Revelations Entertainment was clear. They wanted to achieve better representation on screen, explore challenging issues, and, as the name suggests, reveal hidden truths.
It gave him the control to drive stories that he felt the industry was neglecting, to ensure depth and substance in the material he produced.
Exactly.
As the century closed, he fully established himself as this reliable, iconic presence. He moved into roles that really defined him as an authority figure, preparing us for the next decade where he would, literally play God.
He cemented his narrator status by lending his commanding voice to the Oscar-winning documentary The Long Way Home in 1997. He appeared in Spielberg's historical epic Amistad, and he began his turn as the forensic psychologist Alex Cross in the film series, starting with Kiss the Girls.
And then, perhaps anticipating his inevitable celestial casting, he played the highest office in the land.
Correct. In 1998, he starred in the disaster film Deep Impact as President Tom Beck. Playing the president in a crisis scenario just reinforced the public perception of his inherent authority and calming presence. The film was a major box office hit.
And all this work culminated in his inevitable Oscar win. He finally took home the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor for $1 Million Baby in 2004.
Directed once again by his frequent collaborator Clint Eastwood.
That role, as Eddie Scrap Iron Dupree, an elderly former boxer, was just perfectly suited to his gravitas. His work was highly praised, especially his narration.
Roger Ebert described it as flat and factual, a style that conveys profound truth without melodrama. This whole period established him as an undisputed Hollywood legend, ready to enter his omnipresent phase.
Following his Oscar win, Morgan Freeman's career settled into this really unique status. He became, quite simply, omnipresent. He was the go-to actor for roles requiring institutional wisdom or, well, a celestial presence.
You can see the shift, right? He's no longer just the actor, but the anchor of consequence.
Yes.
He became Lucius Fox, the CEO of Wayne Enterprises, and the technical support and moral sounding board for Bruce Wayne in Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy.
Starting with Batman Begins in 2005, he brought this essential grounding and technical competence, maybe drawing on his radar repairman past, to that high-stakes, high-fantasy world, appearing in all three films up to The Dark Knight Rises in 2012.
And of course, the role he's most associated with, outside of the Batman universe or Shawshank, is God. He reprised his deity role in 2007's comedy sequel Evan Almighty, following his highly successful turn in Bruce Almighty back in 2003.
The voice had now truly become a character in itself.
Absolutely, the defining characteristic of a benevolent and supremely authoritative higher power. This isn't just about his acting, it's about the public's perception of his sound. People literally associate his voice with ultimate wisdom.
And this authoritative voice is why he became the narrator extraordinaire for premium documentary and informational content. This is what really cemented his legacy outside of narrative film.
The list is exhaustive, and it speaks to the trust placed in his delivery. We're talking about the authoritative voice behind the Academy Award-winning March of the Penguins in 2005.
A film that needed serious gravitas to convey the harsh realities of the Antarctic.
Totally. And later, he hosted and narrated the long-running television series Through the Wormhole from 2010 to 2017, tackling complex astrophysics and existential questions.
He also starred in and hosted The Story of God with Morgan Freeman from 2016 to 2019, where he traveled the globe exploring different religious practices and belief systems. This entire phase of his career showcases an intellectual curiosity that really matches his artistic ambition.
And that curiosity translated into one of his most deeply personal and long-anticipated projects.
Fulfilling a long-held desire to portray Nelson Mandela.
Exactly. That project was Invictus in 2009. He had previously wanted to adapt Mandela's autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom. But instead, he purchased the film rights to John Carlin's book, Playing the Enemy, focusing on Mandela's efforts to use the 1995 Rugby World Cup to unite post-apartheid South Africa.
And this role was critically lauded. It earned him his 5th and most recent Oscar nomination for Best Actor.
Critics were in awe of his transformation. Roger Ebert lauded the portrayal, noting that Freeman did a splendid job of evoking the man Nelson Mandela, showing him as genial, confident, and calming, yet underpinned by a core of tempered steel. He just captured the essence of the complex, dignified leader.
The period post-2005 also showcases incredible genre diversity. It shows he was still eager to stretch his wings beyond the wise mentor or the authoritative CEO.
Oh, for sure. He took diverse roles across genres, action thrillers like the hyper-stylized Wanted in 2008,
The fun spy caper Red in 2010,
and the sci-fi adventure Oblivion in 2013. And notably, he enjoyed high-profile ensemble comedies,
like The Bucket List with Jack Nicholson.
and Las Vegas, and even a small humorous part in Ted 2 as a civil rights attorney.
His presence became so reliable, so inherently stabilizing, that he anchored several ongoing cinematic franchises where his character's progression mirrored the public's rising expectation of him.
The Has Fallen franchise is the perfect example of this. It began with Olympus Has Fallen in 2013, where he started as the Speaker of the House, Alan Trumbull.
And naturally, in the sequels, London Has Fallen and Angel Has Fallen, his character ascended to vice president and then president.
Of course. The audience expects him to take the most consequential role. Angel Has Fallen was commercially successful despite mixed reviews, demonstrating his continued box office viability.
And the audience's comfort in seeing him in a position of ultimate authority.
He also appeared in the Illusionist series Now You See Me and its sequel, playing the ex-magician Thaddeus Bradley. He was often the skeptical voice of reason, kind of working against type as a magician, but still filling that wise elder statesman role.
And the fact that a 4th installment, Now You See Me, Now You Don't, is scheduled for release in November 2025 shows he is still a desired commodity in major franchises.
But the career wasn't all hits. The later period saw some notable commercial failures. It's proof that even a legend can't guarantee success in the fickle landscape of Hollywood.
Unfortunately, yeah. The historical drama Ben-Hur in 2016 was a massive critical and commercial disappointment. It turned out to be one of the biggest box office flops of that year.
And the 2017 comedy Just Getting Started, despite co-starring Tommy Lee Jones, was critically panned and just failed to find an audience.
However, he balanced these cinematic disappointments with a significant return to recurring television work. He played Chief Justice Frawley in the CBS political drama Madam Secretary from 2014 to 2019.
And this venture was significant because he wasn't just acting. He and Laurie McCreary, through Revelations Entertainment, were executive producers.
Right.
And in a great nod to his continuing artistic curiosity, he actually directed the first episode of the series.
His producing partner, Laurie McCreary, gave some insights into his on-set demeanor when he was directing.
She noted his command of the craft. She said he could achieve a complete tonal change in performance from an actor with the least amount of direction.
She also humorously observed that everybody behaves better when Morgan is there.
Which suggests his signature authority extended naturally to running a tight ship on set.
And moving into the 2020s, he received further acknowledgement from the industry, earning a Primetime Emmy nomination for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Comedy Series for The Kominsky Method in 2021.
And in his most recent television work, he joined the cast of the Paramount Plus spy thriller series Lioness in 2023, portraying a United States Secretary of State.
He joined that project specifically because of his admiration for the prolific and specific work of the creator Taylor Sheridan.
Which illustrates that he's still actively seeking out quality creative partnerships rather than simply collecting paychecks or resting on his laurels.
It seems like that appetite remains, even after a 60-year career. He himself conceded that the appetite for work has dimmed a little, but not enough to make a serious difference.
The continuous pursuit of quality and control really defines this phase of his life.
Beyond the acting credits, what's remarkable about Morgan Freeman is his life outside the camera. His deep entrepreneurial spirit, his outspoken activism, and the serious health challenges he has quietly managed.
Right. Started with his business ventures, Revelations Entertainment is obviously the major success. It's his enduring creative outlet.
But not every venture was successful, which gives a realistic view of his business attempts.
That's true. He co-founded Clickstar in 2006. It was intended as an early film download company, and he even secured investment from Intel. But that operation struggled.
It ceased operations just 2 years later in 2008.
Yeah, it shows that navigating the digital distribution landscape was a challenge even for him.
But despite the high profile of his global career, he maintains these significant cultural and economic ties to his home state of Mississippi.
That's right. He owns and operates Ground Zero, a popular blues club in Clarksdale, Mississippi. The club is a genuine attempt to preserve the cultural heritage of the Delta region.
He was also the former co-owner of a fine dining establishment in the same city, Medidi. These ventures reflect a genuine, tangible investment in the cultural and economic landscape of the area he grew up in.
And his philanthropy and environmental activism are equally focused and interesting. They're often centered around preparation and preservation.
In 2004, following the devastation of Hurricane Ivan in the Caribbean, he helped form the Grenada Relief Fund.
And that initiative later evolved into Planet Now. This organization provides severe storm preparedness resources, so it shifted his humanitarian efforts from mere response to proactive disaster readiness.
He's also a dedicated supporter of Oceana, focusing on vital ocean conservation efforts.
But the most unique and hands-on environmental action he took involved a rather buzzworthy creature.
Yeah.
I still find this detail surprising.
Wait, the voice of God spent his later years actively managing 26 beehives.
It's true. That shift from celestial authority to hands-on agricultural commitment is genuinely one of the most surprising details in this whole dive.
In a beautiful gesture of environmental commitment, he converted his entire 124-acre ranch in Mississippi into a bee sanctuary.
In July 2014, he started this project with 26 beehives after learning about the crucial decline of the honeybee population.
That's a powerful metaphor. The man known for his commanding voice taking quiet, deliberate action to protect the environment, a hands-on approach to solving a global crisis.
It connects back to that technical precision we discussed from his Air Force days. It's a detailed, methodical act of conservation, not just simple advocacy.
Okay, moving to his political and social stances. It's essential we present these views impartially, as they're reported in the sources. Freeman has not shied away from controversial commentary regarding race and politics.
Not at all. And these have often sparked national debates. One of his most publicized and often criticized in his statements relates to the commemoration of Black History Month.
He famously called the concept ridiculous.
He did, arguing firmly and publicly that Black history is American history, and that separating it only serves to diminish its importance.
And his solution to ending racism was equally controversial. It focused on eliminating the linguistic habit of racial identifiers.
He posited that the only way to end racism is to stop perpetuating the use of race itself. And I'm quoting the source material here. He said, "I am going to stop calling you a white man, and I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man."
His belief being that by continually identifying people by race, we inherently reinforce the artificial divisions we claim we want to eliminate.
Right. It's a complex argument that generated significant controversy.
He's also weighed in on specific political issues in his home state. He supported the ultimately defeated proposal to change the Mississippi state flag, which at the time included the Confederate battle flag emblem.
He also publicly accused the Tea Party movement of racism during a CNN interview, which generated a lot of controversy due to the highly charged nature of that accusation.
And following the 2015 Baltimore protests, he voiced staunch support for the protesters, stating that the unrest was a direct reaction to what he called the terrorism we suffer from the police.
He pointed specifically to the proliferation of smartphone technology, allowing citizens to record and witness police actions, and he questioned the high rate of Black individuals dying in police custody. His views consistently align with a critique of systemic racial injustice.
Regarding political endorsements, he backed Barack Obama in 2008.
And he even provided the voiceover for the introduction to Disney World's The Hall of Presidents when Obama was added, lending his authoritative voice to that formal transition of power.
He also provided the voiceover for Hillary Clinton's video introduction at the 2016 Democratic National Convention.
And most pointedly, in 2017, he appeared in a video for the Committee to Investigate Russia, using his commanding voice to declare the U.S. at war, accusing Russia of launching cyber attacks and spreading false information.
The deliberate use of his voice for such a weighty, consequential political statement shows his willingness to use his stature for causes he believes are critical.
In a move that really synthesizes his views on race and the justice system. In 2021, he and a University of Mississippi professor, Linda Kina, donated $1 million to the school to establish the Center for Evidence-Based Policing and Reform.
So it shows a dedication not just to commentary, but to funding systemic, data-driven change in law enforcement practices.
Exactly.
Looking at his personal life, we should touch on the framework of his private life. He's been married twice. First to Jeanette Adair Bradshaw from 1967 to 1979, and then to Myrna Colley Lee from 1984 until their divorce in 2010.
And he has 4 children. But we must pause to recognize the profound personal tragedy he endured in 2015 when his step-granddaughter from his first marriage, Adina Hines, was tragically murdered in New York City.
It's a crucial reminder of the private suffering that contrasts so sharply with his commanding, confident public image.
Absolutely.
And despite the high-profile roles, he maintains a balance between his New York City home and his primary residence in Charleston, Mississippi. His hobbies are surprisingly demanding.
They really speak to his love of control and mastery. He earned his private pilot's license at age 65, well into his peak cinematic career.
Wow.
And he has owned at least 3 private aircraft over the years, including jets like a Cessna Citation 501 and an Emivest SJ-30. This passion for aviation speaks to a man who values freedom, technical command, and mastery.
Mirroring the dedication he shows to his acting. Moving to his faith, even after playing God multiple times and hosting a series dedicated to exploring global religion, his personal beliefs remain philosophical and deeply introspective.
He stated quite candidly and provocatively that when asked if he believes in God, "I think we invented God. So if I believe in God, and I do, it's because I think I'm God."
Which reveals an extraordinary self-awareness and philosophical individualism.
It does. And he identifies most closely with the Zoroastrian belief system, distilling it down to the core creed. Good thoughts, good words, good deeds.
We must now address the 2008 automobile crash, which had serious, lasting consequences for his health and his career.
In August 2008, he was seriously injured in a rollover automobile crash in Mississippi. The accident was severe. He and his passenger had to be extracted from the vehicle with hydraulic tools.
But even though he was conscious and reportedly joked with a photographer right after, the injuries were severe. A broken left shoulder, arm, and elbow.
He required 4 hours of surgery to repair nerve damage in his shoulder and arm. And the long-term impact of that injury went beyond the initial surgery and recovery. This physical challenge is one he carries with him constantly.
It is. Following the incident, he developed fibromyalgia, a chronic condition characterized by widespread pain.
And crucially, the crash resulted in permanent nerve damage that caused paralysis in his left hand, forcing him to switch to using his non-dominant hand for many tasks. It is a powerful testament to his resilience that he continues to perform at the highest level despite this physical limitation.
And finally, in 2018, there was the CNN investigation regarding allegations of misconduct, which required a public response and industry scrutiny.
Right. CNN published an investigation detailing allegations of inappropriate behavior and harassment from 8 women. Freeman responded immediately, issuing an apology to anyone who felt uncomfortable or disrespected, stating that it was never my intent.
And crucially, one of the named accusers later publicly claimed that CNN misrepresented her comments.
She did. She stated she viewed his comments as being said in jest and that the context was misleading. After deliberation, the Screen Actors Guild ultimately decided not to take any action against him regarding the allegations.
We've talked so much about the voice, but let's dive into the how and why of its distinction, the technical intentionality behind the legend. Journalists describe it as deeply reassuring, mellifluous, and authoritative.
And this is the centerpiece of the deep dive. That voice didn't happen by accident, nor was it merely a gift of biology. Freeman traced its development back to college speech classes.
So a choice he made after dropping out of college to join the military and later returning to acting school.
Exactly. It was an active, methodical, technical endeavor, much like his work as an automatic tracking radar repairman. He observed that most people tend to speak too fast or too high, which diminishes their ability to command attention.
So he actively developed his commanding voice by consciously practicing speaking in a lower octave.
And focusing obsessively on enunciating each word clearly. This isn't just a natural gift. It was a deliberate, technical choice made early in his training that defined his entire career path.
Turning a stage actor into the voice of consequence.
Yes, and that technical precision feeds directly into his acting philosophy. He's often described as an intuitive actor who chooses roles with great care.
His process emphasizes careful role selection and deep character study to ensure depth, sensitivity, and substance in every portrayal.
And his co-star, Beverly Todd, remarked that he's a very sharing actor who doesn't demand all the attention in the scene. He focuses instead on elevating the entire performance.
And what does he consider the greatest danger in acting a mistake he actively avoids?
He believes the key to effective acting lies in presence and active engagement. He stated, "The big danger in acting is to wait for your line." That's what I never do. I always listen no matter how many times we do it.
And that philosophy of being fully present, listening, and reacting is perhaps why his quiet, observing roles, like Red in Shawshank or Detective Somerset in Cess 7, carry such immense anchoring weight.
It's clear this commitment to his craft has yielded immense professional recognition. The honors span his entire career and reflect his stature in the industry.
His Academy Award recognition is comprehensive. 5 nominations, with 1 win for Million Dollar Baby.
And it's important to note the scope. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Street Smart, and then Best Actor 3 times, Driving Miss Daisy, The Shawshank Redemption, and Invictus.
He has 5 Golden Globe nominations as well, winning once for Driving Miss Daisy and also receiving the prestigious Cecil B. DeMille Award for Lifetime Achievement in 2012.
And the lifetime honors extend far beyond the major film awards. They recognize him as a foundational American artist. He was chosen as a Kennedy Center honoree in 2008.
One of the nation's highest cultural awards.
He received the AFI Life Achievement Award in 2011, presented to him by peers like Helen Mirren and Clint Eastwood. The Screen Actors Guild gave him their Life Achievement Award in 2017.
He was also honored with the Freedom of the City by the City of London in 2014 and received the National Medal of Arts in 2015. These awards collectively define him as a preeminent cultural figure.
And if we look at the collective critical consensus, specifically using Rotten Tomatoes data, his filmography is stacked with essential modern classics that span genres and decades.
His critically acclaimed films list serves as a powerful summary of his legacy, defined by quality and consistency.
You've got Unforgiven, Million Dollar Baby, The Shawshank Redemption, the entirety of the Dark Knight trilogy, Seven, Glory, Driving Miss Daisy, and even the animated classic The Lego Movie.
It is a filmography defined by quality, consistency, and critically consequence. And that brings us to the end of this deep dive. We've covered a remarkable amount of ground.
We really have, moving past the familiar voice of God image to reveal the immense personal history, conscious choices, and physical resilience that shaped him.
The key takeaways reveal a man obsessed with control and mastery, the structure of the Air Force, and the technical precision of a radar repairman.
The loathing for the chaotic energy of Electric Company that reinforced his desire for serious drama.
His enduring dedication to challenging subjects through Revelations Entertainment.
His surprising hands-on environmental transformation of his ranch into a bee sanctuary.
And the immense physical challenges he overcame, specifically the 2008 crash and subsequent fibromyalgia, which forced him to switch hands.
What unites the radar tech, the loathing for Electric Company, and the bee sanctuary? It's the constant conscious pursuit of control and mastery, whether over his voice, his scene, or his environment.
And if there's one aspect that defines his incredible trajectory, it's that it was not a lucky accident. It was a deliberate choice.
Think about how a young man, interested in drama, actively learned how to talk in college. He didn't just stumble into his greatest asset. He noticed that most people spoke too fast or too high.
And he consciously trained himself to speak in a lower octave, enunciating clearly.
That single, intellectual, technical choice he made in a speech class ultimately shaped his entire career trajectory, transforming him from a struggling stage actor into the universally recognized authoritative voice of the modern cinematic age.
The ultimate lesson. Sometimes the foundational decision you make early on, like simply learning how to listen or how to speak, is the one that pays the greatest creative dividend across a lifetime.
Turning a technical discipline into a legendary cultural asset.
We'll leave you to ponder the immense power of intentional practice and the choices we make that resonate for decades. We'll see you soon.